Good morning, everyone. It's Tuesday morning, which means it's another A Moment of Hope with Upward Transitions. This morning, we are so lucky to have Melissa with the Dragonfly Home. The Dragonfly Home is a partner of Upward Transitions in some new work we are doing with victims of human trafficking. And so we just wanted to educate ourselves about human trafficking and share that knowledge with you. So thank you for being with us this morning, Melissa.
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting us.
So tell us about Dragonfly Home, how it came to be, why, how you came to be a part of it. Just tell us about that.
Yeah, so back in 2016, my two other co-founders and I had been working in anti-trafficking advocacy for a few years. And throughout the course of that work, we just realized there were some gaps in services for survivors of human trafficking. So, for example, there were really services for victims, labor trafficking victims, and then also no services really for who did shelter. Then get specialized trafficking victim survivors needs. So we decided to found Dragonfly. So that was March 2016, and then in November of that year, we received the required certification from the Oklahoma Office of the General, and that's when we began operating Oklahoma's first and only non-residential crisis center, and also our 24-hour human trafficking helpline. And so since then, we have served hundreds of victim survivors of trafficking, all genders, adults and some juvenile, both sex and trafficking, some people experience both. Hundreds of people center. We have a satellite office at Pal as well. And then we also have fielded thousands to our human.
I think we lost that last sentence there, Melissa.
That's okay. Out because this is in the age of pandemic, so it's no problem. I'm one of the founders. I think my last, and I'm also the director of communications and development. So that role can fly.
That's amazing. And so, for those of us, I have come to know a little bit about the human trafficking work just from my involvement with Upward Transitions. And so, these past couple of weeks when, we got this amazing grant to partner with you and the city of Oklahoma City, as I've shared that information, people kind of like perk up their eyes and go, really? Oklahoma City? Really? This place? And so tell me why human trafficking is a concern here. Why in this place?
Well, evening up that question opens the door for like a series of questions or comments that we often hear at Dragonfly. First of all, what we always want to emphasize is it can be a hard pill for people to swallow. The reason that human trafficking happens here is because right here in Oklahoma, the Midwest, there is a demand for illicit sex and cheap labor. And so here's a lot of rhetoric we're putting on the highway system, right? It's because of highways and bringing people. Yeah, that can play a role, but what we heard in our years of doing, the state says that it's because of their high system isn't the cause. The cause is that there's demand for this. And what makes that a little bit harder is we have that our neighbors, people who we might know, maybe purchasing sex or using cheap, or people who we know might be people. And it's people from Oklahoma selling open to because then inwardly, and we also really think kinds of things create vulnerabilities targeters traffic or let traffic love to target. They become experts where they can kind of worm their way into someone's life. So that can be anything from a lack of opportunity, unemployment, right? Offering someone a false job. If somebody has a physical or financial need, fill for to gain their trust, creating a false romantic relationship with someone who has experienced child abuse or neglect or bullying. I mean, so many here in our state that we hear that. And so it's kind of a prime place where targeters can find people who help and then exploit that in order to control.
Wow, that does sound like a complicated issue. So then for, the average person, hearing, that information, maybe for the very first time, what do they need to be aware of? What information do they need to arm themselves with to be an advocate or just an informed citizen in that environment?
For one, I learn more, of course, is always helpful. We have a ton of information on our website, thedragonflyhome.org, where we go over definition of human trafficking, examples of what it looks like, red flags to watch for out in the community or with people survivor stories and misconceptions. So another thing I would say is the importance of being aware of human trafficking is not taking something at face value. For example, you might see on Facebook something like someone in a parking lot who was followed by a figure, and they think that that's going to result in trafficking. If someone's following you around a parking lot and being suspicious, sure, be on your guard, but that's really not what we're seeing here in Oklahoma with people we serve. We're hearing from people getting just randomly abducted. It's much more weird and insidious, strategic. When people think, oh, this is what trafficking looks or it looks like, you website Wayfair to sell people, or traffickers, their children or their siblings through Facebook or Instagram or an app or gaming. Online recruitment and grooming is a big problem, but if you're not aware of it happening there, then you can miss it. And then being aware of the fact doesn't look like a movie Taken, and it doesn't look like maybe conceived thoughts that we have in our head. And the importance of learning about that. If we don't, then people who are actual victims of the crime don't get help because they're not identified. So it would be a much longer conversation for me to get into all of the details about all of that, but that's just kind of a broad overview. There is good information out there, and as hard as it can be to hear, it's just critical. And once you start learning about it, then you'll find, I think most people find that it might be hard at first, and then they kind of take a deep breath and keep learning, and and because they come out on the other feeling really empowered.
So if there was one thing that, you wanted the average Oklahoman to know about either Dragonfly Home or human trafficking, if you only had, just a moment with someone, what would you want them to know, for their own awareness or knowledge?
I would want them to know that there are organizations in this state doing the work. I hear people be like, why is anybody doing anything here? Well, there are. So there are 3 state certified organizations. That's Dragonfly, and then 2 in Tulsa, Divis and Dayspring. Are other types of agencies and organizations here that are doing the work to help children in our state, in our city. And rather than, if you haven't heard of us, that just happens sometimes, but rather than assume no one's doing anything, just take a few minutes and look into it further, and you'll find that you can be a part of some really good work that's going on to fight this.
Well, we are super excited to be partnering with you and the city of Oklahoma in this new kind of adventure of work and helping the victims of human trafficking. Our expertise is the housing piece. We're going to bring all of our skills to bear to help those victims and lean on your expertise and in the case management part, and the city's going to have a place in that too. And so I think it's going to be a lovely partnership as we grow and learn together, so we can help the people that have experienced this. And so we're really excited, and so we're just curious what happens next and how that will grow. And so
well, we've thought so highly of transitions for years. And so it is a real honor to be working with you all. And we know the quality of your services. We know your philosophy. We know education. And so we're super excited about that, and just glad to see that that Oklahoma City really cares about this topic. And so we're going to help more people.
Yes, and I'm in for an education, and I hope that we will continue to share knowledge with the people that are engaged with us as well. And so I think it's an important topic to keep talking about. So I appreciate you taking a little bit of your time this morning to just share just a bit. It's just the tip of the iceberg. But hopefully people will start becoming more interested and doing some more of their own, research and educating themselves on what's happening right here in our city and what's happening where they can get involved. And so thank you so much for taking the time this morning. And this will be the first of many conversations.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you so much, Micah.
All right. Well, have a wonderful Tuesday. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this morning, and have a wonderful Tuesday, and find a little hope in your day.